All right, good morning. Good morning, everybody. This is David Spain, and this is our second webinar with the associate members of the AAST. Again, welcome to our inaugural class. I'm glad you could join us. We're going to get started here in a few minutes, and the purpose of this one is to really go over sort of the educational focus of the AAST, what our annual meeting looks like. Hopefully, most or all of you can attend in Hawaii this year. But just a little bit about, how we go about putting the meeting together and what we look for. And then also at the end, I'll put a little plug in for future activities for AAST. All right, unfortunately, I wasn't able to figure out how to get control of slides. Someone have to ask Jamika to go to the next slide for me. All right. So we are going to cover our annual meeting and just go over a little bit about the format and how it's put together, virtual grand rounds, some educational courses that we're going to do specific for our associate members, and also we will talk a little bit about scholarships available through the AAST. All right, so as most of you probably heard already, our meeting this year will be in Hawaii. At the Hilton Waikoloa. This will probably be our last time going to Hawaii. We've kind of outgrown most of the venues there, and this one is actually undergoing some renovations, and after that we'll be able to handle our meeting. So it's probably our last time going to Hawaii, at least for the next couple of years. Double check your calendars. The original dates were a week later. And because of Rosh Hashanah, we actually moved the meeting up a week. So it does start on Wednesday, September 9th. And unlike our other... Hello? Oh. All right, we got a little interference there. Do you want to, Jamika, do you want to text me?
Okay, you're all good now.
We're good? Okay. All right. So again, the meeting does start on Wednesday morning at 7:30 as opposed to our usual meeting, which starts at 1 o'clock on Wednesday. So we are starting early. So you will need to arrive in Hawaii on Tuesday, the 8th, if you want to attend the full meeting. Next. So again, if you're submitting an abstract and the deadline's coming up pretty quickly, we really want original, new, and significant scientific work. And it has to be original work. Now, every year we have some concerns about dual presentations. It really has to be new work. It can't be presented at any other meeting, state, local, regional, or national meetings. The only exception to that rule is the COT resin paper competition. So if you are presenting it at your state or regional meeting, that's fine. The national COT meeting is usually in March, and so as long as you haven't already presented at the national meeting and have it published, it's okay. But that's the only exemption from the presentation is COT work. And obviously it can't be submitted to any other journals or any other organizations. So you have to be careful. The American College of Surgeons Clinical Congress deadline is the same time. And so you've got to pick and choose which one you want to send your work to. But obviously we want you to send your best stuff to us because we'd love to have it be on the program and then have it come be presented and have you come to Hawaii and attend our meeting next year as an associate member on the program. And again, if you have any questions, there's lots of information on the website about how to put together an abstract and the rules. Please follow the rules. Please follow the rules. Every year we say in there, don't identify your institution, and there's 3 or 4 or 5 abstracts every year where they put the name of the hospital right in the abstract, and then it's just dead in the water, even if it's a good abstract, because we really do want all grading to be blinded. So if you name your trauma center in there, then it's not a blinded abstract. So again, be careful about that. And if you do have any questions, you can contact Rachel Sass, our education manager, and her email's on the screen here. All right, next slide. Oh, back one. So we do want to develop some programming specifically for associate members. And one of the opportunities are lunch sessions. We have lunch sessions 6 on Wednesday and 6 on Friday. We have the possibility to expand some of those, and we typically those are more didactic works or areas of interest or topics that the different committees might develop. Surgery in austere environments, might be a lunch session on the aging surgeon. I mean, there can be a variety of topics that maybe don't lend themselves to a scientific abstract forum, but are important things that we want to talk about. And so we'll put 12 of those on the program. And if we want to have some of those specific for associate members, right? Maybe how to start your academic career, how to pick a mentor, how to be productive, what to look for in a new job. I mean, any number of things, how to balance work and family. I mean, all these things that, for those of you, in the ACGME competencies, these would be kind of some of the soft competencies, right? Professionalism, but these are hugely important topics, and lunch sessions would be a great way to get maybe the associate members together and have a session around a topic that is specific to your stage in your career and your needs. So again, think about how this could be done, and you, sorry about that, and you can submit any number of them, and we probably only have room for 2 at the most. If you want to have a high attendance, we probably maybe target 1 for Wednesday and 1 for Friday. And you could pick a topic, secure some speakers, and really it's wide open. This could be organized by the associate members with only associate members as the speakers, or you could be organized by the associate members and you may have a topic where a senior member might be useful to have come talk to you, and we can help you organize that. And if you need to have some conference calls to discuss topics and work through them, Bria can help you. But it really is about what do the associate members want to see on the program, and content at the meeting that would be helpful for you at this stage in your career. And I think the lunch sessions would be a great way to get a group together and do those topics. Next. The next one, there you go. Again, 12 optional lunch sessions, 6 on Wednesday, 6 on Fridays. As I said, for the rest of the meeting, these are really submitted by committee members and committee teams, and the person submitting the form really is responsible for confirming everybody. And unfortunately, we don't pay for travel, registration, or hotel for the moderators, the presenters. Most of these people are generally already coming to the meeting already. But there's a lunch charge that the moderators and the presenters don't have to pay for. I think if we had a specific associate member lunch, we probably will have to try and work out something as far as the financing that. Next slide. So this is what the form looks like. So committee name for you would be the associate members. And then who's submitting it, who's the best contact person to head this up, what day would you prefer, although either one's okay, and then suggested presenters, moderators, and then there's on the next page there's a little space to to describe what your session would be. And we already have a couple associate members on one lunch session from one of the committees, but again, I think if the associate members as a group could come up with a couple of topics that you think would be helpful, we could definitely flesh these out and get a couple of these organized. Next. And what Rachel or Jamaica, if you're on, what is the deadline for the lunch session submissions? I missed that.
So the deadline for submissions is March 6th.
Okay, so we don't have a huge timeline. So if some of you are interested, you gotta see if you can get a couple, two or three of you together and flesh out a topic. And if you need some help from that, feel free to email me and or any of the members of the board of managers. That all the people on the board of managers have a pretty good idea what's going on in the organization. And so if there is some senior help you need in a specific topic, I think any of the board managers would be able to point you in the right direction. There are also pre-sessions, which is basically Tuesday afternoon. I think a lot of people could get to Hawaii by late morning on Tuesday. And so we do have optional space for some pre-sessions Tuesday afternoon from 1 to 5. And same thing, these are generally submitted by committee members, but again, if the associate member group really had something that was more substantial, something that a 4-hour session that you think would be hugely beneficial to the associate members, if you put together a submission for a pre-session on Tuesday, we would put that in the mix. And the program committee will look at that. It's one of those things that if we think it's a great idea, potentially interesting, we can put it out there. There's usually a date by which we would need, we'd need X number of registrants to sign up for this to move forward. And so, if we really needed 20 people to attend to make it worthwhile, and we only have 15 people or 12 people signed up by August 1st, then it may get canceled. But assuming that we hit our target audience, then it'll go forward. All right, the same rules apply. Next. And here's the form, very similar to the other one, just, who's in charge, what's the best way to get a hold of you, what title, presenters, moderators. For some of you, the CME will apply. For those in training, it won't. And then a description. And again, the more you can make this a detailed description and really let the program committee know what you're hoping to achieve, the better off it'll be. And because you were going to be sitting down and, in some hotel room at the O'Hare Hilton trying to sort through a dozen or more of these, trying to figure out what would be the biggest benefit for our membership. All right, what do we have next? All right, so virtual grand rounds. So as you may know, the AAST hosts virtual grand rounds every month, usually on Wednesdays. And the 2020 schedule can be found at our website, which is listed here. And they're live grand rounds, broadcast nationally, and educational purpose. And they all do get archived, at least go back to 2017. So if you see a topic you'd really like to hear, you can watch them. It is a great place to explore topics. Some of them you have seen that have been proposed as lunch sessions or pre-sessions. So if you put together a good idea for a lunch session, but it doesn't get on the annual meeting, that might be a great topic to have a virtual grand rounds on. So just because it doesn't get on a limited space of the meeting doesn't mean it's not a good idea. So I think already about 5 associate members have met and got together and formed a little ad hoc group and are coming up with topics for, we are going to now have a set of virtual grand rounds for the associate membership. And again, targeted specifically to residents, fellows, and junior faculty in the early part of their training, or in the early part of their life as an attending, and try to make these specific for your needs. And the goal is to have the first of these associate member virtual grand rounds in the later half of this year. So if you do have any ideas, contact Rachel in her emails on the screen there, and you see down below a couple ideas already. So what your orthopedic traumatologist would like you to know, which is also a good topic, right? And then wellness topic. I mean, Dr. Coleman is pay on this and trying to, make sure we take care of ourselves as we take care of others. And these are a couple ideas. Again, there are specific things that for our associate members that I think would merit their own grand rounds, and career development, picking a fellowship, transitioning from fellow to attending, transitioning from junior attending to more senior attending, and how do you make those adjustments? How do you make those changes? And it's a continuous process. One of my senior partners called me in this morning at 4 a.m. we had a gunshot wound to the vena cava. This is a very experienced surgeon, but just needed another set of hands. And so, how do you make those transitions, and how do you know when do you need help, and how do you call in your partners, but at the same time, trying to develop your own independence and being able to be seen as a person that someone can rely on, but having the ability to also call for help. And these are difficult transitions that are very helpful to talk about. So there's any number of these topics, I think, unique to residents, fellows, and junior faculty that would be great topics for grand rounds. Okay, next. And as you know, there are a number of scholarships that the AAST provides. It's one of our major goals, really, is to provide support for research every year to young investigators, and the goal is to further research in trauma and acute care surgery. And we start with travel scholarships for medical students, residents, and in-training fellows to attend the annual meeting. I think a number of you in the associate member category have already benefited from this and been able to attend our meeting. The number we do depends on the fundraising, but it's anywhere from 15 to as much as 25 a year, where we allow people to come to and attend our meeting. If you haven't been, there's nothing better to get you engaged in an academic career in trauma surgery than going to one of these national meetings, whether it's the AAST or the East or the Western Trauma. When you see, your mentors, your attendings at these national meetings, in the way that trauma surgery works together, and the camaraderie, and the fellowship, and the collegiality, the friends you make, it's a life-changing experience going to the meeting. So I would encourage all the associate members to apply for one of these travel scholarships. We also have research scholarships, and we have 2 focused on trauma, 1 focused on EGS. The research scholarships are for junior faculty. They are not for residents taking research time out. So this is really meant to help junior faculty start to establish their own research identity as they come out. So again, these are for early career investigators. It can be basic science, translational, clinical science, again, trauma, surgical critical care, and emergency general surgery. And these are post-training only, so in-training fellows and junior faculty within 7 years of the end of your training. The application is relatively short. The whole thing is 25 pages. That includes your CV and cover letters and the like. The actual scientific application is about 6 pages long, so it's not a enormous amount of work, but writing it, but you've got to put some real thought into it. So the deadline for this is February 1, so you've got to have a pretty decent idea already. But I think it is something to definitely put on your radar for next year. So again, if you're currently a fellow or junior faculty, or if you're going to be in fellowship next year and you have plans to start research time in 2021, then this is definitely something you need to have on your radar. And the deadline's always February 1st. Every year it's February 1st. I can tell you I received the AAST Research Scholarship in 1994, I think it was, 93 or 94. And was actually the first 2-time recipient, but mostly because I was the first person to ask a second time. And this was really career altering. I mean, the support allowed me to go on and get DoD and merit review funding and really establish my identity as an independent researcher. And this was clearly the startup funds that made the entire difference in the trajectory of my career. And so again, if you've got a decent idea, again, this year may be a little too close if you haven't got it well developed already, but definitely have this on your radar for 2021. All right, next. As I said, we do have this annual meeting scholarships. The deadline for these is June 1st. Basically, 4 nights in a hotel, meeting registration, per diem, $200 a day, so you can eat pretty well. Basically, the only thing that you or your institution is responsible for is airfare to get you there. So after that, pretty much we take care of all the expenses. You gotta, fill out the application online. It is open to medical students, residents, and in-training fellows. And like I say, we go somewhere between 15 and 25, depending on how much fundraising we have. So you do have to attend the entire meeting. So we'll have to get there by Tuesday, and that includes the social events on Tuesday evening. So you will have to arrive on sometime in midday on Tuesday and stay till the meeting ends on Saturday. Again, if you haven't been to the meeting, it's a phenomenal experience. That is one of the things we, as we put these together, we do try to prioritize getting new people to the meeting and getting new people engaged in the organization. All right, next. This would be for the faculty members. The AAST and the American College of Surgeons have these health policy scholarships. Deadline for these is coming up February 7th. And this is a joint program that the college has with a number of organizations, not just the AAST, but they offer annual scholarships to subsidize attendance and participation at an executive leadership program in health policy and management at Brandeis University, just outside Boston. It's a 6-day course. It's June 14th to the 20th. This is open to members who are members of the American College of Surgeons and the American Association for Surgery and Trauma. So our faculty associate members, you got to be at least 30 years old, but under 60 on the date. And it gives you about $8,000 basically to cover the cost of tuition, travel, and housing during the period of the course. And this is direct reimbursement for the course. This is actually an interesting meeting because there's a number of organizations that participate in this. So the American College of Surgeons, the AAST, the American Surgical Association sends representatives, the American Association of Neurological Surgeons sends people, urology sends people. I actually did this several years ago through another organization, through the American Surgical. And I met a number of urologists that I still keep in touch with, neurosurgeons, and a number of people. It's a fascinating course, and it really is eye-opening. It's been going on for probably close to 10 years now, and the people that have gone through it have all had a great experience. It is about 6 days in Boston, but they treat you well, and it's jam-packed. You're up in the morning, and you are going all day long. But it really is a great opportunity if you're interested in health policy and management. All right, next slide. So, call to action. These are the things we need you to do. I have one other thing to add after this. So, we need some volunteers to put together some lunch sessions. And ideally, we would get maybe 4 or 5 of you to get together and propose some either lunch sessions or if you have something that you feel needs more time, a pre-session on Tuesday afternoon from 1 to 5 would be another opportunity. But it'd be nice if we could get a handful of volunteers, like I say 4 or 5, that could put this together. Would they contact Rachel, or who would they contact to volunteer?
They would contact me. This is Bria, by the way.
Bria. Right. Bria Sanders, and your Bria, your email is?
My email is Bria, B as in boy, R as in Rover, E as in extra, A as in apple, Sanders, like the Colonel, at AAST.org.
All right.
And I'll also be sending out additional information following this call.
Okay, great. So again, for this, if any of the associate members, again, this is a volunteer organization. You raise your hand, you step forward, you volunteer and contribute, then we're going to recognize that. So need a handful of you to put together either lunch session proposals, or if you think there might be a topic that requires a little bit more time and in depth, than a pre-session on Tuesday afternoon would be another consideration. So email Bria after this and let her know that you'd be interested in working together, and we'll help set up some conference calls to get the group together and flesh out a couple ideas. Like I said, I do think it would be worthwhile if you had at least one, if not two, lunch sessions at the meeting, that again for topics specific to this stage of your career and your needs. We also need 2 volunteers to run the associate member social media channel. You will work within the communications committee, and one of the responsibilities will be to help promote our meeting during the meeting on social media. So we may need more than 2. So again, if you're interested in this and you think you're going to be attending the annual meeting, you want to help out, let Bria know. And then our next to last thing is our next webinar is going to be Monday, April 20th at 10 o'clock Eastern. No, 10 o'clock Pacific. 10 o'clock Pacific. 12 o'clock Central Time, 1 o'clock Eastern Time on Monday, April 20th. And Sharon, the focus of that webinar will be what?
The next one, hi, it's Sharon Gauchi. It will be talking about the lunch sessions that got selected and what do we go from here, and then pre-sessions, if any are submitted, and also the grand round selection and who's presenting and things like that. And then the annual meeting in general, some of the events that's going to be at the annual meeting for the associate members.
Okay. And then just before I finish up here, I just want two things, I guess. So I'll just say a word or two about how the program gets put together, because I think it's one of those things that everybody feels like is shrouded in mystery and cloaked in darkness, and not really. So the abstract deadline is coming up. It's what's the deadline again, Sharon? March 1st?
Hi, this is Bria. The deadline's March 1st.
So March 1st for abstract deadline. And what happens is so as I said, abstracts must be blinded. No mention of your organization or your institution or anybody's names. So the program committee sees blinded abstracts. We grade them in a blinded manner, and they're done by categories. There's any number of categories. So there's maybe neurologic injury, chest injury, trauma systems, injury prevention, pediatric surgery. There's anywhere from, depending on how we divvy it up, there's like 10 categories. And then all the abstracts in each category are scored in a blinded manner. And that goes to the entire program committee. And then after that's done, the program committee meets at the spring Board of Managers meeting, which is in early April. And usually I can tell you that we take about 67 oral presentations, about 25 or 26 quick shots, and then we take somewhere between 120 to 140 posters, depending on how they're divvied up. But for the 65 to 68 oral presentations that come on the meeting, really, if you just go call it pretty much by the scores, about 50 of the abstracts just kind of fall out based on scores. Now you may hear people talk about the 4-2-1 rule. So for the program, there is a maximum of 4 presentations from any one institution. And 2 of those can be podium presentations. So out of that 68 podium presentations, no more than 2 can be from any one institution. And then each person can only present from the podium 1 time. So if there's 2 podium presentations from your institution, the same person can't present them. And the reason for that really is to give multiple institutions the opportunity to present. So if you're at a huge institution and you have 8 fellows a year and lots of resources, it's easy to crank out some abstracts. And if you're at a smaller program and you've got limited resources, you may not have the opportunity to submit 8 or 10 abstracts. You may be able to submit 1. And so we really want to make sure that we keep a balance in the program. So the balance in the program is not only content. We need papers on head injury. We need papers on thoracic injury. We need papers on trauma system. We need a balance in the program, but we also do want to keep it balanced by institution. So no, 3 or 4 places don't dominate the program and have 10 abstracts each on the program, and everyone else is struggling to get on the program and get visibility. So what that 4-to-1 rule means is you could have 4 posters, right? Or you could have 3 posters and 1 oral presentation, or you could have 2 oral presentations and 2 posters. And the quick shots are counted as posters because they're the highest rated posters. So you will hear people talk about the 4-to-1 rule, and occasionally there are some places that their 3rd abstract is great, but again, we try to balance it out and let multiple institutions get on the program and show their work to the organization and to their colleagues. And those great abstracts that don't get on are going to get presented at another meeting. They're going to get published. If it's great work, it's going to find its way out there. So that's just so we'll do that in our board meeting in April, and we'll also at the same time we sit down and go to lunch sessions. Usually get somewhere around 20 or more proposals. We pick 12, but again, I think for the associate members there, we'll definitely have some specific opportunities for you guys to put together some lunch sessions. And then the last thing I want to say before I open it up for questions is the one thing. So we asked for a couple volunteers. The other thing I think the associate members I'd really like to see you do is start recruiting. We had 110 or so associate members join this year, and I was floored. I was going to be happy with 30 or 40 people joining, and we got 110. I was ecstatic that we were able to get so many people to join. And now I think about it, though, I think we could do way better. There's about 200 to 250 surgical critical care fellows a year, the vast majority of whom want to go into acute care surgery. So that's a pool right there that we need to get involved. I think all of you, if I have a colleague, a fellow resident, or a co-fellow, or a junior faculty at your institution that would be a good candidate for membership in the AAST, and just really was a question of them being aware and knowing what was going on. And so as we come up to membership season over the next few months, I would love for our associate members to start recruiting your colleagues, right? So go to your classmates, go to your fellow residents, go to your co-fellows, go to your friends at other institutions that and start contacting people and start to get the word out there. I think we still need to do a little bit of work on our social media presence. Bria's working on it. She has some ideas. And I think over the next couple of months that we need to start recruiting some of the associate members to start, getting us out there on social media a little bit better, and also providing a way for you to connect with each other and start to design this group. Because like I say, the associate membership really, we want this to be a grassroots organization. We want you to help have a strong hand in organizing yourselves and what this group looks like and what this group accomplishes. So I think I will stop there. And is that the last slide? Questions? There you go. Perfect. So I'll be happy to take any questions.
Hi, Dr. Spain. So the first question we have that came in through the webinar is, I have been told that this program is more for mid-career faculty. Is that true? And that's in regards to the annual meeting?
No. I mean, no, not at all. I mean, that tends to be who gets on, just because I think that you have to present, but again, it's blinded. So we also have a resident presentation award. We keep, so Sharon, you might have, or Jamaica.
Hi, Dr. Spain. So real quick, I can confirm we had 20 residents present last year from the podium.
Out of 68.
Yeah,
Out of 68.
Okay, I was gonna guess a third, so I wasn't too far off. So yeah, so 20 of the 68 presentations were given by residents, and we do recognize the best presentation by a resident. So there was an award for that. So a third of them were by residents or fellows. There's a handful of medical students present every year, not too many, maybe 2 or 3, but all right, so there you go. One third are residents, fellows. I think it's a great way to get on the program. And again, as an associate member, you'll now be presenting as a member.
Okay, and that's all the questions I have, I think. I have one from Dr. Dultz, and you can let me know if I phrase this right. It says, in regards to executive leadership, Brandeis program.
Brandeis.
Oh, the Brandeis program is what she was referring to for the mid-career faculty.
Yeah, as long as you're 30 post-residency.
Yeah, as long as you're 30 in post-residency, you can apply for the that award.
That's
Scholarship.
Yeah, and Dr. Dultz, it's a great program. I actually did it, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago. It is a week away. You're going to be in Boston. You're going to be holed up in a hotel for a week. But it's surgeons from all around the country, and not just general surgeons. So like I said, there's urologists, plastic surgeons, neurosurgeons there, and all they're learning about health policy and leadership. That's where I learned how to read a balance sheet, and how to make a budget. It's a very interesting course, and then there are all other opportunities that come from that. So yeah, that would be appropriate for this stage in your career, Dr. Dultz.
Are there any other questions?
All right. Anybody else? Like I said, so the action items are some volunteers. One, to get together to help come up with a couple ideas for lunch sessions, and potentially a pre-meeting session on Tuesday if we think it's something that needs several hours of attention. And the other action item would be a couple volunteers to help with the social media work that we want the associate members to do. And ideally, those people would be on the communications committee already, but it's not a requirement. We can always make adjustments. So, all right. Anybody else got any last minute questions? You can send in. We got a couple more minutes. We can talk here. Or if you have something completely unrelated to anything we talked about and you want to throw it out there, we got time. All right. Sorry. All right, Bria, how are we doing there? We good then?
We are all good. I will be sending out slides for everyone to review, along with additional forms for the lunch sessions and pre-sessions, and some information to coordinate discussing visual abstracts and these sessions.
Yeah. All right. And again, virtual grand rounds. start thinking about what topics you'd like to see. As I said, there's already a little ad hoc group that's working on it, but I'm sure they would appreciate any input from their colleagues. Anything else that, again, we'll have some time on April 20th at 10 Pacific. We'll talk about the meeting a little bit more, but again, I want this time to be valuable for you. So if you have other ideas or topics, make sure you either contact me or Bria or Sharon Gauchi. All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining us, and I appreciate the time. And again, start working on those abstracts. March 1st, hard deadline. Blinded abstracts. Don't put your name or your institution in there, and really load up and send in your best stuff. If you're looking at 2 abstracts and you can make it 1 strong one, go with 1 strong one, because we would love to have a big presence of our associate members at the meeting in Hawaii. All right, everybody, thanks, and we will be in touch soon.